Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Despicable Me. Yeah. Oh, I said something naughty and someone got upset about it. So, well, let's talk about this because this is, on the one hand, an unbelievably stupid comment, but on the other hand, it raises an issue, which I think is kind of interesting, and that I want to mention. At least in passing, and this is a good place to do it. The writer is Chow-ZZ6NV, whoever the hell that is. We'll just call him Chow, I think. That's easy. And his objection is to my review of, what's his name, Yunchan Lim's recording of Tchaikovsky's The Seasons, which I compared unfavorably to those by Ashkenazy and Pletnev, to name only two. But it was a pretty fair review. I mean, I wasn't going crazy on the guy. I just said, there are better. And this is why. Well, apparently somebody took umbrage at that. Oh, my. And this is what Chow wrote. Here we go. Quote, "Only because he is not a Jew? ? Definitely something is fishy, ? Make sure that ear is not plugged with the wax, ? And affix the ugly eyelid, ? That's this one here. So you can see and hear properly, ? That's the whole comment. Now, I appreciate somebody, particularly somebody for whom English is certainly not their first language, writing in English, especially if they're attempting to be insulting, because that, takes extra effort. So that was fun, actually, and I enjoyed the attempt. The idea that I am criticizing Lim because he isn't Jewish is, of course, comments like that say more about the writer than they do about the object of their ire. I mean, don't they? Really? Because this is the way Chow thinks. It's not the way I think. I mean, I've never favored anybody because they're Jewish or not. I really couldn't care less what their affiliation is when it comes to the artistic quality of their work. And I think my work in aggregate as a whole bears that out. I really, really do. Especially since I have an extraordinary affection for, Christian liturgical music, which I've sung my whole life, or did for years and years and years, and played, and it was wonderful. Anyway, that whole thing is just stupid. What it really says is that this person, who I suspect, his name being Chow, maybe he's Asian, I can't assume, but maybe some of the affection for Mr. Lim and some of these artists arises from the fact that they belong to certain ethnicities or nationalities. That's the way I said he, might not be, but I assume that's the way they are thinking, not the way I'm thinking. So nothing is fishy just because his recording of The Seasons isn't the best when you listen to all of them comparatively in real time, which is what I do. And then, of course, then there comes the personal attacks. I mean, yes, I have a droopy eyelid. It's neurological damage, possibly resulting from multiple sclerosis. I could have something done surgically. I don't care. That's where we are with that. I don't need to see properly to hear properly. I mean, the whole comment's just stupid after that. It all goes downhill. But the point I wanted to raise, the thing I wanted to raise, which is really very interesting, is that, I don't actually believe that this guy is particularly anti-Semitic. I think he is nationalist or ethnicist or whatever. Now, if you are, of course, a rabid partisan of one single ethnic or racial group and you hate all the others, then yes, as regards Jews, you're probably anti-Semitic and all that. But I don't see in this comment the kind of, cultural, deep, traditional Western Christian, dare I say, anti-Semitism that I've often found in the comments. I think this is sort of more, lighthearted, I guess is the word. But no, what I want to talk about is the fact that in this forum and elsewhere, I have seen comments where people lament the prominence of Asian performers of classical music. And that has always been an issue. There is tremendous Western prejudice focused on Asian players. Kyung Hwa Chung had to deal with it. Seiji Ozawa had to deal with it. All of these people who think that they own a repertoire that is proprietarily theirs, and that people from other cultures or ethnicities, and Jews being one, because Jews are always outsiders, whatever ethnicity they happen to be residing. But generally speaking, they have no authenticity, no true feel. All of these sort of nebulous things, actually, was the kind of nonsense that the Nazis always talked about. It was they always talked about wholeness and oneness and roots in the soil and trueness and all of these bullshit terms, to explain why their performers were supposed to be better than those others. And this idea of these others who are invaders or aliens, it is so pernicious. It's so repulsive. It's so rampant, not just in music, of course, but in our culture more generally, in the attitude of some, in this country particularly, towards immigrants, towards people from elsewhere. I mean, my basic premise in dealing with all of these things is that everybody is like everybody else. There isn't any difference between anybody. And nobody has any special proprietary feel or ownership or interest in anything. All that matters is what they do and how it sounds if you're musical, and what kind of people you are if you're just a person out there in life. This idea, this horrible, bigoted, racist nationalism, which will never go away. It just won't. I mean, sometimes rising to the level of xenophobia is just awful. I mean, it's abominable. There's just you can't say enough awful things about it and condemn it harshly enough. And so, curiously, when I read this comment, I was thinking not so much about me being accused of not liking Lim's recording of the Seasons. I mean, when you think about what this is about, it sounds so absurd, absolutely insanely absurd. But I wasn't thinking about that, but I was thinking about all of the Asian artists who had to put up with the crap coming from Western artists. I mean, Zubin Mehta had to deal with it. I've seen this endlessly. Not so much in the more, open-minded echelons of music criticism, but in, the comments of just absolutely awful people who pretend to be cultural consumers and music lovers. It's bad. It's bad. It's everywhere. It can't be decried and condemned strongly enough. And so while I am absolutely amused and dismissive of Chow's moronic statement, I am very conscious of the fact that there are huge swaths of the classical music community who are subject to similar types of prejudice. And it bothers me. It bothers me profoundly, not least because it gets in the way of what we should all be doing, which is simply listening openly and avidly to hear great music fabulously performed. So anyway, that's my point with respect to this comment. I'm more than open to hearing yours. Up to a point. Well, maybe not more than welcome, somewhat welcome. Anyway, keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.